You have reached 555-4468. I can't come to the phone right now, so please leave a message. You have reached 555-4468. I can't come to the phone right now, so please leave a message.
Hey, Bess, it's Nancy. I'm at Sally's house on Moon Lake. Her number is 555-461-8787. Give me a call when you get this. Bye.
Nancy, how's it going?
Hey, Bess, how'd you know it was me?
Telepathy, of course. Just another of my many talents.
You are so full of it. She got caller ID, Nancy. So now, instead of hanging up on the geeks that always call her, she just doesn't answer the phone.
Very funny. So what's up? Nancy, how's it going?
This caller ID stuff is going to take some getting used to.
I'm here too, Nan. What's going on?
Hello?
Bess, it's Nancy.
I know that. What's going on?
Scary as in what?
Yeah, people type scary or ghost type scary?
Dog type scary. She called to warn me about the dogs.
Dogs? As in Rin Tin Tin, Old Yeller...
Huckleberry Hound?
Apparently, there are some dogs around here that come out at night and are pretty scary. That's about all she had the chance to say before we got cut off.
Dogs aren't scary. Maybe it's some other kind of animal.
That's possible.
As soon as you hang up, you're going to go prowling around outside, aren't you?
Why, Bess, that's a great idea.
Well, be careful.
And if anything does happen, run. No, wait, call us first, then run.
I will.
Maybe that was just their way of being friendly.
These dogs were not friendly, believe me, and they had glowing yellow eyes.
Ghosts?
The man who built Sally's place on Moon Lake was a gangster. The birdwatchers said that the ghosts of his dogs show up every time someone new tries to live here.
The place is haunted by ghost dogs?
Like there's such a thing as ghosts. But it does sound like you've got another mystery on your hands, Detective Drew.
Are you sure you're going to be all right there by yourself? We'd volunteer to drive out there and keep you company, but unfortunately my car's in the shop, and you know what a scaredy cat George is.
That's okay. There's really no room, and believe me, living conditions here are pretty primitive.
Scaredy cat, huh? You're gonna pay for that remark, dear cousin.
Sounds boring.
In fact, he probably knows more about the area than all the other residents of Moon Lake combined.
Sounds very boring.
What's he know about these alleged ghost dogs?
He thinks they're just plain old dogs that for some reason like to run around at night scaring people.
Why's that?
He takes his job very seriously, which tends to rub some people the wrong way.
Did you tell him about the ghost dogs?
He thinks they're just plain old dogs that for some reason like to run around at night scaring people.
And what does Detective Drew think about the dogs?
I think Sally had good reason to be scared of them. I don't blame her for leaving, which leads me to think that maybe that was the whole idea.
Somebody had those dogs attack Sally in order to scare her away?
Why would anybody do that? She was there for less than a month.
You'd have to be a total creep to make enemies that fast. And Sally's one of the nicest people I know.
Compared to you, nothing. As I was telling them about this latest case of yours, I could hear them turning green with envy right through the receiver.
Their number is 280-555-4865. Bess didn't recognize it when they called and almost didn't answer the phone.
Good thing my cousin here has a memory like an elephant, huh?
What's that supposed to mean?
Call them, Nancy. They're dying to hear from you. But remember, Frank's cute and all that, but George and I want to hear from you too.
Yeah, no fair discussing the case with them from now on and not with us. Promise you'll keep us up to speed?
I promise.
Why do you say that?
She also sells antiques from the 1920s that she finds in Moon Lake.
Is that bad?
If she's been getting them by dragging the lake in front of Sally's house, it is. That's illegal.
Sounds like an enterprising woman.
Ranger Akers thinks she's getting them illegally.
Ah, an enterprising crook.
Dragging the lake to recover objects is against the law. He thinks she does it anyway, and that her favorite spot is in front of Sally's.
You know what that means?
It means Emily Griffin has made my suspect list.
Because if she is breaking the law, she'd want the Malone house to stay empty so she can keep dragging the lake without anybody seeing her. So somebody could be trying to poison you.
But you don't know for sure.
Right, and they may not be trying to poison anybody. They may want to contaminate the well just enough to force Sally to either go to the expense of digging a new one or forget the whole thing and leave.
And because arsenic is found naturally in well water anyway, You may never know for sure. Bummer.
Sometimes I think they follow you around.
Well, I found these hidden stairs leading from the living room into the cellar.
Don't tell me you found a secret passageway.
Close. I found hidden stairs leading from the living room into the cellar.
What's down there?
That's what's weird. The stairs led down into this empty space. There's some kind of safe in the wall and a set of stairs leading to a door that goes outside, but that was it.
Why would Malone bother hiding a staircase if it didn't go somewhere important? I've heard of the hole-in-the-wall gang.
Well, according to Akers' journal, in 1931, somebody stole a shipment of gold bars in broad daylight by dropping them through a hole in the floor of a moving train.
Let me guess. The thieves were never caught, and the gold was never found.
You got it. According to Akers, Malone masterminded the whole thing, and he hid the gold right here on his Moon Lake property.
You think it's still there?
It must be. Like you said, Nancy, that would explain why somebody wants Sally, and now you, out of there so bad.
I also found a map with the inscription, "The dogs will lead the way."
You found a treasure map? My gosh, Nancy. Secret passageways, buried treasure? You're like a magnet for that stuff.
The dogs will lead the way to what?
Ooh, Nancy! Speaking of cute guys, Frank and Joe Hardy called. I filled them in on where you are and what you're doing, and they're dying to hear from you.
As far as I know, he and Sally were on good terms, but I also know that Red doesn't seem to have much use for any life form that doesn't molt.
He sounds like my Uncle Zach. He's into birds. Only he doesn't watch them, he hunts them then shoots them. I never really liked my Uncle Zach.
Malone apparently masterminded a huge gold heist and buried the loot at Moon Lake in a secret location. According to the journal, Malone left Akers the map and said it would show him where the gold was, but all it has on it is that inscription and some landmarks.
What kind of landmarks?
The house, the shoreline, some rocks in the lake, the pump, the cemetery, and it's crisscrossed with lines like a grid.
A grid? Sounds like precise locations are involved.
According to the journal, Malone left Akers the map and said it would show him where the gold was, but all it has on it is that inscription and some landmarks.
What kind of landmarks?
The house, the shoreline, some rocks in the lake, the pump, the cemetery, and it's crisscrossed with lines like a grid.
A grid? Sounds like precise locations are involved.
Maybe. From what Ranger Akers told me, Red would like everybody around here out of their houses. He thinks there's too many people at Moon Lake and it's ruining the bird watching. Ranger Akers called him a fanatic.
Fanatic equals suspect in my book. Why? What happened? Did you two have a fight?
Oh, Bess. Nancy Drew does not have fights. Heated debates? Maybe. Fights? Never.
Why else would Sally just take off like that?
You sure they weren't wolves or something? Did you say dogs?
She couldn't have, George. Dogs don't attack houses. Creepy. Park ranger? What's he like?
Which, as we all know, is Bess's way of saying park ranger. Is he cute?
Not true, George. Nancy thinks everybody's cute, so what would be the point? Anyway, Nancy, you were saying?
Does he live nearby?
No, he just kind of hangs out in the woods. In fact, I only see him at night.
Interesting. He's in the woods at night. The dogs are in the woods at night.
Could he have had a reason for wanting Sally out of the Malone house? You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
He has a motive and he has a dog, although it doesn't look at all like the dogs that have been scaring Sally.
But it shows he knows something about dogs. Better pull out your suspect list and pencil him in, Nan.
I still say you guys should lighten up on him.
You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
All I know is that he wants very badly to be the head honcho of a major state park, and I have a feeling he'd be willing to do almost anything to help the Parks Department acquire the old Malone place.
I still say you guys should lighten up on him. How so?
She's a real country gal. We got this deal worked out where if I need something she carries, she'll let me do little chores to pay for it.
What kind of little chores?
Oh, like collecting bugs and worms so she can sell them to fishermen as bait.
Sounds delightful. Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs?
Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
I don't know if it does or not. Because the well is so old, I need to get the water tested before I drink it.
Good plan. Nothing will wreck your day faster than a nice tall glass of contaminated water. Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs?
Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
I don't know if it does or not. I haven't tasted it yet. Because the well is so old, I'm getting the water tested before I drink it.
Good plan. Nothing will wreck your day faster than a nice tall glass of contaminated water. Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs?
Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
Taste is not the problem.
What do you mean?
I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well.
Yikes!
What makes you think that?
The Department of Health found unusually high levels of arsenic in the water sample I sent them.
Somebody's trying to poison you with arsenic?
They said that? Akers? Any relation to Park Ranger Jeff Akers?
I haven't asked him yet, but according to the newspaper, William Akers was Mickey Malone's most trusted employee, his #1 go-to guy.
Where'd you find it?
Akers? Any relation to Park Ranger Jeff Akers?
When I asked, Jeff Akers said that it was just a huge unfortunate coincidence. According to the paper, William Akers was Mickey Malone's most trusted employee, his #1 go-to guy.
Where'd you find it? So what does it have to do with?
Gold, as in 600 pounds of gold bullion.
That's a good motive.
Come on, Nancy, tell us everything. Gold is one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I found William Akers' journal.
Journal. Yeah, right. Go on. So what does it have to do with?
Gold, as in 600 pounds of gold bullion.
Come on, Nancy, tell us everything. Gold is one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I found William Akers' journal, who, it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Not as interesting as 600 pounds of gold. Go on, Nancy.
So this guy says he's a bird watcher, but the only time you've seen him is at night? That's a little strange.
Unless he specializes in owls or something.
Or unless he's a vampire.
In any case, maybe I'll have better luck finding him at night.
Have you seen the paintings?
They're not in the house, so either they're in the speakeasy, which I still haven't gotten into, or they're long gone.
Keep looking for them, Nan. If they were done at the same time as that map, they could contain some kind of clue.
I'm fresh out. How about you, George?
Ditto. Maybe we should let the brothers Hardy pull hint duty on this one.
If you knew more about Akers and Malone, maybe you could figure out the combination to that safe.
I wonder if you could find some information on them at the ranger station. Poor William Akers. His boss gets arrested, he's suddenly unemployed in the middle of the Great Depression. Not exactly his lucky day, was it?
As I've always said, nothing mucks up your life faster than a really bad date. You have that key, but how do you know which tombstone it opens?
Call Vivian. I bet she'll remember. She's remembered everything else. Why don't you go outside and see what all those weird noises are?
And if you see a dog, just show no fear and let it smell your hand.
I don't know, Bess. What if it doesn't like the way her hand smells?
It's what you're supposed to do, George. Before you can prime the pump, you're going to have to find some water that's safe to drink.
Have you checked the kitchen?
The poem in the living room mentioned 4 seasons, and each season seemed to be connected to a particular symbol and to a particular dog. But assuming it's talking about Malone's dogs, how do we know which dog is connected to which season?
I know. Look in the cemetery out back where the dogs are buried, Nancy. Maybe it has something to do with when they were born?
That cute park ranger seems to know a lot. Maybe he knows who the woman in the picture you found in the cellar is. You've got a flashlight. Explore the passageway that leads to the speakeasy. Go outside and explore some more.
Something tells me you're not as alone as you think.
All you have to do is pour some drinking water into the top of the pump the handle a few times, and voila!
Air pressure will force water from the well into the vacuum that's created in the pipe, and well water will start pouring out the spout.
How do you know so much about pumps, my dear cousin know-it-all?
From my summers at Camp Beanowena Chuckanut.
Don't you think you should check out all the tombstones in that cemetery?
Because remember, Malone probably had them made when he was still alive.
Which means they could hold all sorts of clues. I wonder if Ranger Akers has gotten the results on that water sample you left with him.
Only one way to find out. You need some new flashlight batteries so you can explore the passageway that leads to the speakeasy. Go ask Emily for some.
Whatever you do, don't ask that bird watcher. You've had enough excitement for one night.
Yeah, go upstairs and get some sleep.
You might as well get that water test over with. Go out to the pump, put the bucket under the spout, pump some water into the bucket, then dip the test tube Jeff Akers gave you into the bucket.
Next thing you know, you've got your water sample.
Try turning the dog carvings and see what happens. That cute park ranger all but begged you to sort that box of envelopes for him. I mean, have a heart, Nan. The guy is all by himself. Why don't you finish sorting that box of envelopes for Ranger Akers?
If Roman numerals look like Greek to you, there's a fascinating factoid on them in his database under history.
Rearranging six-packs isn't exactly my idea of fun, but it's the only way you're going to get those flashlight batteries.
Go back to Ems, take a good look at the picture she gave you, and knock 'em dead.
You mean stack 'em dead?
Whatever.
With a boat, you could really do some exploring.
Sally said you could use hers. Go for it.
Is there any doubt what you should do now? Go give the water sample to that cute ranger.
Bess! Be sure to check out the symbol that appears behind each dog in the clock after you turn a carving. That way, you'll know which dog in the box goes with which dog in the clock.
The key is to turn each dog in a particular direction.
Remember, if each dog goes with a particular season, and each season goes with a particular symbol, and each symbol goes with a particular wall...
Bingo! It wouldn't be a bad idea to read what's in all those envelopes you sorted for Ranger Acres.
That's right. Otherwise, you may have a date with a clue and never know it.
Don't you want to check out that speakeasy?
Now that you have a flashlight that works, you can go through the door in the cemetery and look for it.
Ask Emily for the batteries she said she'd give you for stacking the combo cola. If you had a bucket, you could bail out Sally's boat.
Check the pump beside the house.
You're missing a spark plug again? What's up with that?
Maybe Red knows. Go upstairs, lie down, and the next thing you know, it'll be night and you can go see him.
I'm dying to see what happens when you're able to turn all those dog carvings.
Me too. So go get some sandpaper. Take the boat over to Emily's. I bet she has some.
You want it? She's got it.
Tell Ranger Acres you're done sorting those envelopes.
I'll bet he's really cute when he's grateful.
Take a really good look around the speakeasy.
And take a really, really good look at those dog paintings. You got a bucket, now get to work.
Dip and dump. Dip and dump. Bail, bail, bail.
You can't really do anything without a spark plug.
And Red did say he had 2 in his pocket. Go see if he's up on his platform.
And be prepared to do some serious begging. You can't go anywhere without that spark plug, so it looks like it's nap time.
Head upstairs, and before you know it, it'll be nice and dark.
Why don't you give the wall safe in the cellar another try? Did you go through all the fascinating factoids in Ranger Acres' computer?
Maybe one of them will explain why Malone's dog Lucy was painted on top of an overturned boat.
Before you go anywhere in that boat, you should put on your life jacket.
You know how cautious Sally is. I'm sure she has one somewhere. Look around the boat.
Pop Red's tape into the cassette player you got from Emily so you can listen to the birds he wants you to take pictures of.
The sooner you find them, the sooner you can get that nutcase off your back.
I think you should walk right up to that red knot guy and punch him in the nose.
Bess!
Well, who does he think he is, stealing your spark plug like that? What if there was an emergency? You'd be trapped there.
We won't know for sure he took it until Nancy goes to his platform and asks him.
Did you notice the teeny tiny little hole next to the lock on that wall safe?
It's probably a locking mechanism for the tumblers.
So if Nancy stuck something in there, she'd be able to turn the lock?
Yes, but it could be pretty hard to pin down something that small.
Red said he wanted to tell you something.
Since he's always up in that tree house of his at night, you might as well just cool your heels till dark.
The boat's all bailed out. You should be good to go.
Just put your life jacket on, pull the start cord, and let her rip.
Go outside and find those birds for Red.
When you hear one, follow its song until you can see it, then take a picture.
Go tell Red you're having trouble taking pictures of some of those birds.
Tell him they keep flying away.
Try to figure out the combination to the lock on the wall safe.
Who knows? Today's date may turn out to be a very lucky one for you.
And one of many very unlucky ones for Mickey Malone.
Try to find out the name of the woman who was in the picture with Malone.
The birdwatcher said he had something to tell you.
Go talk to him.
Lift the lid on the engine of Sally's boat and take a look.
There's a logical reason why it won't work. You can figure it out. I can't believe you didn't even hear one of the birds on that tape.
I bet I know what happened. Sir Knothead gave you the wrong one.
If I were you, Nan, I'd be seeing red right about now.
Lame, George. Pretty lame. You can't do anything more tonight.
You might as well go upstairs and not come down until morning.
Why don't you check out the contents of that safe?
But be sure to put on gloves and a mask first.
That's right. Ranger Acres said some mice carry germs that can cause diseases.
That speakeasy has been locked up for years. Maybe nobody has found Malone's gold because the clue to where it's hidden is in that room.
Take another look, Nancy. I have a feeling you're getting really close. Sally must have a spark plug around there someplace.
Give her a call. I'm sure you've got her number on your PDA.
Take a good look around the house. You know how Sally liked to leave notes to herself.
They could be very important. To take pictures of those birds, you're going to have to set your clock for the crack of dawn.
Crack of dawn. Just saying the words makes me yawn. I hope you're more of a morning person than I am. You need sandpaper so you can fix that warped dog carving.
Take the boat over to Emily's and get some from her. And wear your life jacket!
Try playing around with those spigots in the speakeasy.
And really look at those paintings.
Malone was such a colorful character. I mean, to give his dogs such weird names. I'm sure he collared the artist and had him or her put clues in those paintings somewhere.
You're going to be dead in the water, as it were, until you get Sally's boat fixed. Go find that bird watcher.
He has a boat too, so he must know where you can get a spark plug.
Rise, shine, get out there and go find those birds.
Then go back to bed. Getting up this early is just plain wrong. Red said you need to get some camouflage gear from Emily.
You better go get it from her before he decides to steal your spark plug again.
Here's a hint for you. Get nosy. Read the journal you found in that safe in the cellar.
Read everything. It could be a regular gold mine of information. Go explore the passageway that opened up when you solved the puzzle in the speakeasy.
And keep your eyes peeled for the glint of gold. Maybe you'll have better luck finding that red guy at night.
Go take a nap. You've earned it.
And don't get up till it's good and dark. That boat's not going to move an inch until you put the spark plug back in the engine. You need to find bait for Emily so you can get some camouflage gear and finish taking pictures for that wacko bird watcher.
Until you do, he's just going to keep taking that spark plug.
According to that journal, William Akers had a son named Joe.
And Emily said Jeff's father, who used to be a sheriff, was also named Joe.
Coincidence? I think not. Ranger Akers just got a little less cute and a little more suspicious.
I agree. But maybe I should go over there and hear his side of the story, Nan.
Maybe Ranger Akers knows something about that Vivian lady. You know, the woman who was in that picture with Malone.
Wouldn't hurt to check. Keep exploring that new tunnel, Nan.
A secret tunnel hidden in a secret passageway? Oh yeah, you are definitely getting close. If I were a guy named Red Knot, where would I be? Down at City Hall, requesting a less silly-sounding name?
More likely, he's hanging out on that observation platform of his. Head out toward the lake and take the path to the right.
What do you need a hint for? Your next move is as clear as the nose on that cute ranger's face. Go give the water sample to him.
Easy, Bess, easy.
You might have better luck hunting for critters at night.
Call Vivian Whitmore. If she was Malone's old girlfriend, she might know where he hid the gold.
And call her soon. I mean, do you know how old that woman must be? Take a good look at those mosaics. If one of them is similar to your treasure map, and 4 of the squares on it match up with the 4 squares you've marked on your map, presto!
The solution may be right at your fingertips.
Why don't you call it a night?
You can't go anywhere in that boat until morning anyway. Go take a nap. You've earned it.
And don't get up till it's good and dark. Why don't you see what's up with those rotten floorboards in the living room?
Get outside and find that bait.
You can do it, Nancy. I sure as heck couldn't. But I know you can. What are you waiting for? You got the spark plug.
Take it out to the boat and plug that puppy into the engine. Go find some wood so you can fix that floor.
Try outside. That's where I always go when I'm bored.
Clever, Bess. Very clever.
You still haven't fixed that warped dog carving.
Why don't you go ask Red for some sandpaper?
Grab your camera and get out there, girl.
Birding time.
Pull the starter cord on the side of the engine. It should start right up.
But don't forget, before you go anywhere in that boat, put on your life jacket.
Open up the engine on the boat and see if something else is wrong with it.
Try covering the hole in the floor with the boards you've found.
Now that you have some sandpaper, use it on the dog carving that won't turn.
Just slide it back and forth around the bottom of the carving until it can move.
Head over to the ranger station. Maybe Vivian sent you something.
So the engine has some screws loose, huh? Sounds a lot like a cousin I know.
Very funny. What you need is a screwdriver, Nancy.
There must be one floating around someplace.
To finish fixing that floor, you're going to need a hammer and some nails.
Very good, Bess. Maybe you are the sharpest tool in the shed after all. Now you can turn all the dog carvings and solve the puzzle.
Hurry! I can't wait to see what happens! You're dead in the water without that spark plug.
Might as well head upstairs. When it's dark, you can go talk to Red.
Use the screwdriver to tighten those 4 screws.
Follow the diagram to figure out how far up or down each screw needs to go.
And follow it exactly. Boat engines have this bad habit of blowing up if everything isn't screwed down just so. Keep trying to find the key to the padlock on the crate the hammer's in.
Have you looked all around that tool shed?
See where the stairs behind the door lead to. Go tell Sir Knothead off. The nerve of that guy to keep taking your spark plug like that.
Technically, it is his spark plug, but he doesn't have to be so obnoxious about it.
Use the key you found in the shed to open the padlock on that crate.
And hurry. I'll feel a lot better when that floor is fixed. You can't find out where those stairs lead to until you find a flashlight.
Look around. Sally must have one around there somewhere. Go tell that birdwatcher you can't find any red-tailed hawks. Now that you have a boat, why don't you go see that Emily woman Sally told you about?
If she can get somebody to move that tree, you'll have a car and a boat.
I can't believe the key to the padlock just fell apart like that.
I know. The lid to the crate is on hinges, right? Just use your screwdriver.
Take the screws out of the hinges.
And lift the lid.
Now that you've got a flashlight, you can see where those stairs in the living room go.
I hope the batteries don't run out.
You can't do anything more tonight. Don't forget to pick up that cassette player from Emily like Red told you.
I've got a feeling he's not going to let you forget the favor he did you until you've paid him back in full.
Get the hammer and nails out of that crate in the tool shed and finish fixing the floor.
And do it soon. That hole is really making me nervous.
Have you checked out everything in that cellar?
Checking out the walls would be a safe bet. To find the tree at the southwest corner of the house, like Red suggested, you're going to have to know which direction is what.
Look around outside by those cellar doors. Ask Emily how to go about getting your water tested.
Sally will be real grateful if you get that done. Nail those boards down so there's no chance you'll fall through that floor.
Gee, Nancy, I never fixed a floor. I'm impressed. Take a good look around that cellar.
No telling what Malone may have left down there. Grab your camera and head for the southwest corner of the house.
Just think, Nan, after you get a picture of that hawk, you'll finally be able to sleep in. Why don't you poke around in the living room and see if you can figure out where that rush of air you heard is coming from? Are you sure you found everything Malone left behind in that cellar? When's the last time you checked in with Ranger Acres?
Vivian may have sent you that key.
Is there any doubt what you should do next? Go introduce yourself to that park ranger.
Just because the man wears a uniform doesn't automatically mean he's cute, Bess.
It never hurts, George. It never hurts.
Have you checked out that cabinet above the sofa in the living room yet?
What's with the dog carvings in that cabinet in the living room?
Do they just sit there? Or can you move them? Time to see if that key Vivian sent you still works.
Using a tombstone to get into a speakeasy, that Mickey Malone sure had a weird sense of humor. Ask that cute ranger guy how to go about getting your water tested.
It would probably mean a lot to Sally to get that taken care of.
Have you looked closely at all 4 walls of the living room?
There seems to be a picture of something different on each one. The letters on that tombstone must spell out some kind of password. Call Vivian and see if she can remember what it is.
And keep your fingers crossed. I mean, it has been more than 70 years, you guys.
That pump doesn't work because it needs to be primed.
Maybe there's a fascinating factoid on pumps in that database Ranger Acres has. Maybe that poem on the wall is some kind of clue.
Uh-oh. You guys are on your own. Poetry was never my strong suit.
It wasn't for whoever wrote that poem, either.
Now that you've found 12 critters, you can take them over to Emily's and get that camouflage gear. Turn the letters on that tombstone until they spell Baldo and see what happens.
See ya.
Bye.
Good luck, Nancy.
And stay in touch.
Don't be a stranger.
Take care.
Ta-ta.
Ciao for now.
Yikes, I am without a clue.
Same here. Sorry, Nance.
Unfortunately, I am drawing a big fat blank.
I am too.
Oh man, you got me.
I'm no help either.
Maybe George has an idea.
Maybe George doesn't?
Blue Jay. Northern Cardinal.
It's too dark.
Don't you shut that door on me, Nancy Drew. Wait, we can work something out. I know we can. I didn't mean anybody no harm. Come on, Nancy. You're a smart girl. Let's talk about this. Let me out of here. Nancy, open the door. There's plenty of gold here. We can share. Looks like it's just you and me and Malone's gold. Huh, Nancy? I gotta hand it to you, Nancy. I've been looking for Malone's gold for years. And here you go and find it in less than a week. Hiding his gold down a well. Heck, I got a devious mind. Why didn't I think of that? Who needs dogs to lead the way when you got Nancy Drew? I got you now, Nancy. That Malone, he sure loved puzzles, didn't he? I know the answer's got something to do with them dogs of his. Let me see now. Sure is purty, ain't it? It's like something you'd see in the big city, huh? I don't know how they figure out things like this, but I sure like it. I was never that good of an artiste. But I like nice things. Thanks for your help in this. I sure appreciate it. In school, I'd always color out of the line, so I don't have much talent for these kinds of things. Well, now that didn't work. So how'd you get in there, Nancy? Come on, Nancy, you may as well let me in. You ain't going nowhere, that's for darn sure. I know. It's the first letter of their names, ain't it, Nancy? Sure, that's what it is. Let's see. I would be 1, V would be 5, X would be 10, and L would be 50. Ready or not, here I come. Gold's always been my favorite color, yes sirree. I'm getting real tired of conking you over the head, you know that? Here you go. Just put what you catch in here. Think fast, Nancy. Gotcha. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. Here's the way it should look when you're done. Here's your batteries. And thanks, Nancy. You better give me the dead ones. Don't want you poisoning your well with toxic heavy metals, now do ya? Thanks, I'll get rid of 'em at the dump. I'm guessing the guy's Mickey Malone, but I don't know who's that lady. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. Hey there, welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin. Howdy, Nancy. Hey there, Nancy, got that bait yet? Hey, Nancy, how's the bait finding coming along? How you holding up? Hey, Nancy, this mean you got them cans stacked? Nancy, I never seen anything so purty in my life. How you doing? Now what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump? I like helping people. Course, I like selling them stuff even better. But keep talking. Sally Macdonald, huh? You a friend of hers? A chainsaw? I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace. I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time. Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing 'em howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me. Seems like they show up every time somebody buys the place. So the last time would have been 10, 15 years ago. The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are. Yeah, well, whatever. One thing's for sure, he's gonna wind up with a dose of buckshot in his hind end if he keeps tramping through people's yards making noises like he just popped out of a UFO about as long as those pink-billed warblers and purple-eyed owls he's always chasing have been around. Couple of months, I guess. Sooner you get 'em, the better. Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Just up lake from Sally's on the east side, 'cause it's well water. And seeing as Malone dug that well 80 years ago, what gets pumped out of it could be pretty funky. Best part is, I got most of this stuff for free. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. Yeah. But you see, these things washed up on shore. All I did was pick 'em up, and neither Squeaky Wheel Acres nor anybody else can prove different. That's right. See, recovering objects from the lake bed is illegal. According to Squeaky Wheel Acres, dragging the lake for artifacts was upsetting its delicate eco-balance. So thanks mostly to his constant squawking, the state banned it. Jeff Akers, local park ranger. I keep telling him all this stuff washed up on shore. But does that snobby little stickler for rules believe me? Well, of course not. It all washed up on shore. My daddy always said, neither a borrower nor a lender be. But I'll tell you what, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, huh? Seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's, and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need? Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. He's your only hope. But you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small. Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Akers' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Akers used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time. That's right. So how come Sally ain't with you? Found 'em. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake. So, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I got it right here. I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer. Just get a water testing kit from the ranger station and follow the directions. Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me. Can't say as it does. Jeff Akers could take all his precious rules and regulations and take a flying leap. Now, I got nothing against getting more customers in here, mind you. But I kind of like Moon Lake the way it is. Small, quiet, out of the way. But Jeff Akers, why, there's nothing he'd like better than to see all the lake and all the property around it turned into one big, noisy, jam-packed state park. He's the type of guy who likes to boss people around, makes them feel important. So if the park got way bigger and was crawling with tourists, why, instead of giving out maybe 1 ticket for littering every 2 days, he'd be giving out 12 tickets every 2 hours. He'd be in heaven. You want it? I got it. Long as you pay cash, that is. Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kind of low on bait. So if you go out and get me, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos. Person you should talk to is Jeff Akers. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his. Sounds like a case for our resident know-it-all Ranger Akers. All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there. I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions. Yep. But you know, I've been meaning to make a purty display out of them packs of combo coal over there for the longest time. Just can't seem to get around to it. Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff. What else can I do you for? Well, hey, I'm sure you got better things to do than getting your ear chewed off by yours truly. You betcha. Keep on trucking. I guess you will. Yodelay-hee-hoo. Always a pleasure. Nice Junior Park Ranger pen. You must really be on Akers' good side.
Hello?
Hey, Joe, it's Nancy.
Nancy, how's it going? No, wait, don't answer that. Talk about the weather or something.
The weather?
Yeah, that'll give me time to grab the other phone and take it outside. Frank's washing the car. He'll kill me if he misses anything. Here, wait a sec. Take a break, it's Nancy. Hang on, he's putting the hose down. He's drying his hands. He's walking over.
Hello?
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Joe. Pick up the phone. Joe's in the kitchen. Worked up a real appetite watching me vacuum out the car.
Hello?
Hi, Joe, it's Nancy. What are you eating?
Sandwich. Either roast beef or really old turkey. Can't tell. Don't care.
Hello?
Hey, Frank, it's Nancy. Got a minute?
You bet. Hang on. Pick up. It's Nancy. We were gonna head to the park and shoot some hoops, but we can't. Wanna know why?
Why?
Because it's raining.
And you just washed your car? Ouch.
Hello?
Frank, it's Nancy.
I'm here too. What's up?
We made them tell us everything. Pumped them dry.
As you may have guessed, we're not exactly rolling in detective work here.
So you're living vicariously through me.
It's not the first time, sad to say.
What conclusions have you reached so far, Detective? So how's life as a dog catcher?
I told you it was gonna rain.
You always say that. So what have you got? Good plan. But don't forget, a really smart perpetrator is going to make it look like he or she has no connection to dogs whatsoever.
But then a really, really smart perp might have dogs all over the place and not bother to hide it, because he or she would figure you'd never suspect anyone so obvious.
Never hurts to look for motive. Uh-oh. Move her up on your suspect list.
I'd move her down.
You know, Joe, something tells me we're not helping.
Sounds like a suspect to me.
Bess said something about a good-looking park ranger? I'm sure my brother here would say a uniform automatically makes somebody more suspicious, because most people assume that a uniform makes the wearer less suspicious. Right, Joe?
Right. Of course, then again, your really, really smart perp is going to...
Joe, we get the picture. Sounds like this latest puzzle of yours is still missing a few pieces. Keep the faith, Nancy. If that gold hasn't been found yet, all it means is that nobody as smart as you has looked for it yet. Any idea why?
He discovered that one of Malone's dogs slept on the porch all day, so Akers dug all around underneath it looking for the gold, but never found anything.
Let me guess, he marked the spot with an I because the dog's name was Ike.
Iggy.
What happened to him anyway?
After 9 years of searching for the gold, he finally gave up. About a year after Malone died, he put his journal in the safe, locked it up for the last time, and walked away a broken man.
That's what he gets for hitching his wagon to the star of a gangster.
A second-class gangster at that. If it had been Al Capone, maybe he could have sold his memoirs to Hollywood or something. But a flash in the pan like Mickey Malone? Not a chance.
Nancy, hi. What's up? Bess and George say you've got another mystery on your hands.
Or should we say, on your paws.
They told you about the dogs?
Maybe the location of the gold doesn't involve just one dog, but all four in combination somehow.
The whole idea of relating dogs to a map is crazy. They're animals. They move around.
But they're also creatures of habit.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe I just need to know their habits.
Well, that could be a little difficult considering those dogs have been dead for more than half a century.
But it would be easier to collect them if no one else knew about the speakeasy. So if she somehow knows about it and figures you and Sally don't...
She'd have a motive for trying to scare us off the property.
In other words, you're right back where you started. Maybe Emily has a motive, maybe she doesn't. Anything else my genius brother and I can help you with, Nancy?
He'd actually want people to know about the speakeasy.
Which means he wouldn't have a motive for wanting to scare Sally away.
So suddenly he doesn't look so suspicious. But then again, you know what I always say.
The less suspicious somebody looks, the more suspicious that person is. Yes, Joe, we know.
Aha!
I'd say the same thing if I was sure he knew about the speakeasy, but I don't see how he could know. I mean, he's not from around here, and he certainly isn't the type to sit around listening to local gossip.
Maybe a little birdie told him.
Ugh, I'm sorry, Nancy. He's out of control today. So the dogs aren't just sitting there looking cute.
No, not at all.
What are you getting at, Frank?
If he wanted paintings of his dogs, why didn't Malone just have their portraits done? I mean, that's what most people do, right? I just think it's interesting that he chose to have them painted in action doing things.
According to Acres' journal, Iggy liked to sleep on the porch all day.
If he was painted doing his favorite thing in his favorite spot, maybe the other dogs were too.
That's interesting. Did Malone have family?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then who had the tombstones inscribed?
But you haven't been in it yet?
No, Vivian, that's her name. She's going to send me her key. I'm not even going to tell you what the key unlocks.
So you could literally be sitting on top of a speakeasy? Cool.
How do you think your suspects would feel if that turns out to be the case? So they didn't go running off into the woods, never to be seen again after all.
Apparently, they stayed around Malone's house for years. William Acres went to the house every day and fed them until they all finally died.
But according to their tombstones, they all died on the same day.
Those inscriptions were Malone's idea. Acres was just following instructions.
And in all that time, William Acres never found any trace of the gold?
So come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Acres, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Acres?
Who, as it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Whoa, so come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Acres, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Acres?
I did, but according to our friendly park ranger, Jeff Acres, he's no relation. The fact that they have the same last name is just a big, unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, right. So come on, spill.
How do you know?
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Acres?
Yeah, right. So come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Acres, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Acres?
I know, same last name as our friendly park ranger. I intend to ask him about that the first chance I get.
Good idea. So come on, spill.
How do you know?
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Acres?
Good idea.
Maybe Malone hid it in the speakeasy.
Well, you didn't find the gold, obviously.
Worse, I found nothing. No gold, no vault full of loot, nothing. Just some paintings of Malone's dogs. which according to Malone's ex-girlfriend have something to do with a map I found, though I have no idea what.
Is there anything else in the paintings besides the dogs?
Well, you didn't find the gold, obviously.
Worse, I found nothing. No gold, no vault full of loot, nothing. Just some paintings of Malone's dogs.
Is there anything else in the paintings besides the dogs? We can probably come up with a few.
But we're not going to make it easy for you.
After all, it's your case, not ours.
The more you find out about Akers and Malone, the better your chances are of finding a way into that safe.
I don't know about you, but if my boss suddenly got arrested and I was suddenly unemployed in the middle of the Great Depression, that day would tend to stick in my mind.
There's more than one tombstone in that cemetery. Better find out which one that key opens.
Head over to the ranger station and ask how to go about getting your water tested.
And ask them about those dogs while you're at it. Is it just me, or is there something peculiar about the way each of the walls in the living room is decorated? Why don't you try to find out who the woman in that picture you found in the cellar is? Detective rule number 73. When exploring passageways that lead from cemeteries to speakeasies, always use a flashlight.
That pump has to be primed before it will work.
Why don't you see if that ranger has any info on pumps in that cheesy database of his? The dog carvings seem to be there for no rhyme or reason.
But hang around long enough, and a clue might be in season.
Any word yet on that water sample you left with the park ranger man?
Any idea why your flashlight went dead?
Sounds like somebody has something in store for you. You need to prime the pump with water that's safe to drink.
I'm sure Sally has some potable water somewhere. The poem in the living room suggests that there's a relationship between each of the seasons and each of Malone's dogs. The question is, which dog goes with which season?
It would sure be nice if it were etched in stone somewhere.
You sound uncharacteristically grave, Joe.
I am feeling kind of lifeless today. Maybe I should go for a walk.
Maybe you should too, Nancy.
Why don't you sort that box of those envelopes for that ranger dude?
Yeah, never hurts to do an authority figure a favor.
And remember, when in Rome, semper ubi sub ubi.
You're going to remain in the dark until you finish rearranging those six-packs for Emily.
You know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 batteries. Just pour some drinking water into the top of the pump and start pumping.
Once a vacuum is created in the pipe going down to the well, air pressure will force water up and out the spout.
Have you checked out all the tombstones in that cemetery?
They say dead men tell no tales, but this case might be an exception.
Have you read what's in those envelopes you sorted for Ranger Jeff?
You never know when a clue's gonna nab your attention.
Let Emily know you're done rearranging the cans so you can get the battery she promised you. Now that you've got a flashlight that works, you can check out that speakeasy. I'd get that water test over with.
Just pump some water into a bucket and dip the test tube into it.
Go give one of those puppies in that cabinet a whirl and see what happens. Make sure that park ranger knows you're done sorting those envelopes.
Make sure you give everything in that speakeasy a good look, Nancy.
You want to be able to picture everything in your mind later.
Might as well take that water sample in.
Yeah, I bet you'll make that ranger's day.
Be sure to notice what shows up behind each dog in the clock after you turn one of the dogs in the cabinet.
Psychologists call it feedback.
The trick is to turn each dog in the right direction. But until you figure out what the right direction for each dog is, I guess you will have pretty much hit the wall. When's the last time you tried to open that wall safe in the cellar?
I'm stuck on the painting of the dog on the upside-down boat. It just doesn't compute.
It's actually kind of fascinating. In fact, I bet it holds acres of clues. We just have to station ourselves at the right spot and peruse the situation. Might as well take that water sample in.
Yeah, I bet you'll make that ranger's day.
Might as well take that water sample in.
Yeah, I'll bet you'll make that ranger's day.
Might as well take that water sample in.
Yeah, I'll bet you'll make that ranger's day. It's weird that you're missing a spark plug again.
That birdwatcher might know something. Maybe you should pay him a visit.
He may keep odd hours, though. One word, sandpaper.
2 words, get some.
If you look real close at that lock on the wall safe in the cellar, you'll notice a very small locking mechanism for the tumblers. Once you get that pinned down, you won't be stuck anymore.
That's right. You're not really in a hole, Nancy. Get my point? All you need is a push in the right direction.
Didn't Red say he has something to tell you? Red Knot's your only hope for getting another spark plug.
Check his observation platform. I bet he's there.
Looks like you're gonna have to go see a man about a spark plug.
Again.
Try to figure out the combination to the lock on the wall safe.
Who knows? This could be your lucky day.
And an unlucky day for Mickey Malone.
The woman who had her picture taken with Malone. If you knew who she was, you might be able to locate someone who can help you open that safe in the cellar. Go hear what your favorite spark plug thief has to say.
Have you listened to that tape Red gave you?
Good idea. Then you can take those pictures and get that bird nut off your back. Go find that Red Knot dude, and if he's the one who took your spark plug, Give him heck.
To heck with giving him heck. Just haul off and smack the guy.
Whoa, that's a little harsh.
What he did was dangerous. She can't go anywhere without that boat. What if there was an emergency?
Joe's right. Smack him, Nancy.
Go see what's in that safe.
But remember what Ranger Akers said.
To make sure germs can't lay a glove on you, you've got to mask out danger by taking certain precautions.
All the answers are in that speakeasy, Nancy.
They've got to be because they're sure not anywhere else. Time to go bird watching.
Use your ears as well as your eyes, and keep that camera ready.
There has to be a way to keep those birds from flying away before you can take their picture.
Maybe the expert will have some advice for you. You know, maybe it's the dogs in those paintings that will lead the way.
Yeah, so tap into their karma, Nan. Go with the flow. Don't be collared by doubt. Remember, the name of the game is persistence. Impatience spells doom.
Malone was just too colorful not to have put clues in those paintings somewhere.
It's not your fault you didn't hear any of the birds on that tape. Something must be wrong.
I'd pay that alleged ornithologist another visit.
You might as well lie low till morning. Have you read the journal you found in that safe yet?
I sure would. That puppy could be worth its weight in gold.
Detective rule number 17. When the door to a hidden tunnel slides open as the result of the successful manipulation of an intricate locking device, for crying out loud, explore it.
No sleeping in for you until you get those bird pictures taken.
You need to get some sandpaper so you can sand down the bottom of that warped dog carving.
William Akers mentioned in his journal that he had a son named Joe.
Didn't Emily say Jeff's father was named Joe?
I'd say that was one too many coincidences, wouldn't you, Nancy? Secret tunnels that branch off of secret passageways almost always lead someplace very interesting.
Keep going, Nancy. You're almost there.
Shh. I hear birds. They're all saying, Nancy, Nancy, I'm ready for my close-up.
No, they're not. They're saying, Joe, Joe, for crying out loud, go back to bed. Go get that camouflage gear before that nut job decides to steal your spark plug again.
Have you called Vivian Whitmore yet?
Whoa, she's got to be in her 90s. Call her, Nancy, like now. Nobody lives forever, you know. That treasure map you found is all squared away, right?
How about those mosaics in the tunnel? Are they squared away too?
Because if one of them is similar to the map you've marked up,
the solution may be right at your fingertips.
Why don't you go find a home for that spark plug? You're not going to get that camouflage gear until you collect that bait.
So grab your bait box and get out there. Maybe it would be better to do some work at night. Maybe you should follow through with that water test before that vial in your pocket starts to leak or something.
There might be more critters around at night.
So make like Audrey Hepburn and wait until dark.
Up and at 'em, Nancy.
Your feathered friends are waiting.
Have you tried fixing the floor in the living room yet?
Time to find the rest of the bait.
Just keep your hands away from your mouth and you'll be fine. Have you checked lately to see if Vivian sent you that key?
You need to find some boards for that floor.
Let's see. If I were a board, where would I be? You still need to sand down the bottom of that dog carving.
Go ask your new pal for some sandpaper. You're dead in the water without that spark plug.
Guess who you're gonna have to go see.
You've got all those boards, now just do something with them.
Have you used the sandpaper on that dog carving yet? Go tell Mr. Notbrain to give you your spark plug back.
Tell him this is getting really old.
Those boards in the living room need to be nailed down.
But with what?
Look outside. Maybe you'll see something that will shed some light on the answer.
Now that you can turn all the dog carvings, go solve the puzzle.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm dying to see what happens. There's gotta be a reason why you can't find any red-tailed hawks.
Wouldn't hurt to find out.
I hope you like Alaska, Nancy.
Because to find the key to the padlock on the crate that hammer's in, you might need to wind up close to Nome.
Stay away from me Lucky Charms, you overgrown galoot.
Have you found out where those hidden stairs in the living room lead to yet? Nothing more you can do tonight.
See if that key you found in the shed works in any locks around there. Detective rule number 37. Never explore someplace dark, like the secret staircase in the living room, without first securing a flashlight. You're not going to be able to do what Red suggested unless you know your directions. Maybe there's something lying around outside that could tell you.
Just fling open the doors to your imagination, and the answer will appear at your feet. Just because that key disintegrated doesn't mean you can't get to those tools. You'll just have to do a little thinking outside the box, that's all.
Lighten up. Free your mind. Loosen the screws. Don't be afraid to become unhinged.
You might be surprised at what opens up. See where those stairs in the living room go. What are you waiting for? Go take a picture of that red-tailed hawk. Grab the hammer and nails out of the crate in the shed.
Like I always say, a person can never have too many tools.
Is it safe to say that you've checked out everything in that cellar?
Vivian may have sent you that key. Go check. You got a hammer, you got nails, you got boards, and you got a hole in the living room floor.
3 words, Nancy. Get to work. Detective rule number 53. When examining a new environment like that cellar, be sure to thoroughly examine everything that's examinable.
You so made that up.
Make sure you didn't miss anything, Nancy. There, Frank, you happy?
Why don't you go see if the key Vivian sent you still works?
Did you check to see if there's something behind that wall in the living room where that air seemed to be coming from? Are you sure you found everything there is to find in that cellar?
That key Vivian gave you isn't going to open anything unless and until those letters on the tombstone spell out the correct password.
And there's only one person that I know of who could possibly remember what that is.
Are you sure you've seen everything that's in the living room?
I'd look closely at those dog carvings in the cabinet over the sofa.
In fact, I think a little hands-on investigating is in order. Go trade that bait in for some camo gear. Go turn the letters on that tombstone until they spell out the password.
You bet.
Bye, Nancy. We'll be waiting.
Watch out for dogs.
Just watch out, period. See ya!
Well, say something, Frank.
Sorry, Nance. You're on your own on this one.
Don't look at me.
Or me.
Gonna have to pass.
So am I.
I do not have one single solitary idea.
I hate to say it, but neither do I.
American goldfinch.
£600 of gold bullion. Wow.
Red-tailed hawk.
I can't use that here.
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink. Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back. I'll dispose of the package. No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Hello. Can I help you? You're back. Hello there. Hello again, Miss Drew. A package just arrived for you from Las Vegas. Hello. The Mosher estate sent me some more materials. I've got most of it in the computer now. Take a look when you get a chance. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know? Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally Macdonald is the woman who bought the old Malone place. Sally Macdonald? Yes, I've had occasion to write her up once or twice. At your service. I noticed that you arrived by boat. Does that mean you're staying on the lake? She littered. Food items, as I recall. An apple core, crust of bread, something like that. She tried to argue that the animals would eat them, but litter is litter. And besides, feeding the wildlife is also illegal. Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff. Being a park ranger can be a thankless job, Ms. Drew. But I know that every time I enforce a rule, I'm helping to preserve some plant or animal, however minute, for future generations of park goers. There's always a logical explanation for everything. Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs. I know almost everything about this area. Not only have I lived here all my life, but you're standing in the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I'm its equally unofficial curator. Dogs can be trained to do almost anything. Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein. Do you always ask this many questions? I'm a very busy man, Ms. Drew, but I am here to serve the public. Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137. There's something here for you from the State Department of Health. I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation. Am I in for another interrogation? As always, I'm here to serve, Ms. Drew. Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it. So, all right. William Akers was my grandfather. It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing. I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man. Everyone who doesn't want to die of thirst does. Hooking up to a municipal water supply is out of the question. Too expensive. Depends on when they were dug. The older they are, the more susceptible to contamination they are. Not necessarily. It's hard to ignore its potential as a tourist attraction. And if that's what it takes to draw more people to Moon Lake, I'm a reasonable man. The woman who owns the shop across the lake? Emily Griffin? I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's been dragging the lake in front of Malone's house for artifacts, which is illegal. It would be a lot easier for her to do her dirty work if nobody was living there. I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses. No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs. I know that he was Mickey Malone's right-hand man. I also know that although we share the same last name, he and I are most definitely not related. Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve. If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state. 6 long, very frustrating years. She outbid them, the cheapskates. What do you mean? You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew. Tell you what. If you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished. Sure do. Simple to use, too. It's also the Moon Lake Post Office, and it's the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I've lived here all my life, so I can't help but feel obligated to protect not only the area's flora and fauna, but also its past. As a member of the law enforcement community, I prefer to dwell on the positive aspects of history instead of on the activities of a bunch of glorified thugs. That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules. In the run, out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require. People are buried there. Beyond that, What's to know? That's the rumor. Not in my steeple. Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask. Not at all. I'm sorry, Ms. Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together? Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways. I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy. Why do you ask? All I know is my grandfather managed it for Malone. Lots of rich and famous people went there, it made him tons of money, and when Malone went to prison, my grandfather sealed it up, and no one set foot in it again. As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do. If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Wouldn't want to break any littering laws, would we? Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer. Good news! I have information on your mystery woman. Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often. Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you. He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing. Too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you. That's why I'm here. Not a problem. Always a pleasure. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Acres.
You might want to take that life jacket off. You look kind of silly with it on.
Sally Macdonald is currently unavailable. At the sound of the beep, please leave a message.
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy. Give me a call when you can. I'm at home. Or should I say at your home? Talk to you later.
Sally Macdonald is currently unavailable. At the sound of the beep, please leave a message.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's? A bird watcher I ran into said they were ghosts. Oh, yeah? What are they up to? Great. Did they leave a number? Believe it or not, Sally went to her aunt's in Philadelphia. I'm here by myself. She said something happens when it gets dark here. Something really, really scary. When she called to explain, she said she was afraid of the dogs. I saw the dogs Sally warned me about, and she was right. They were pretty scary. They were definitely dogs. They came out of nowhere and started leaping at the windows and scratching at the doors like they wanted to get in. Not only did these dogs attack Sally's house, they had eyes that glowed yellow. Believe it or not, on some nights, this house gets attacked by a pack of dogs. Sally's so scared of them, she left me here by myself. There's a private cemetery in the woods out back. Malone and his dogs are supposedly buried there. And there were paw prints in the cemetery. Fresh paw prints. Did I tell you about all the weird noises I've been hearing inside the house? Moon Lake is gorgeous, but it's so remote. The park ranger is the closest thing they have to a sheriff around here. His name's Jeff Akers. He's very helpful, polite, efficient, knowledgeable. Well, he seems like an okay guy. But frankly, nobody around here seems to like him very much. This birdwatcher I met has got me taking pictures of birds for some survey he's doing. He's a bit of a grump. Get this. It turns out that Jeff Akers will be one happy park ranger if Sally sells her Moon Lake property back to the bank and they wind up selling it to the Parks Department. You two would get a kick out of the woman who owns this little store on Moon Lake. Unfortunately, she may not be as harmless as she seems. She also makes money selling antiques from the 1920s that she finds in Moon Lake. Did I mention that all the water in Sally's house comes from a well? I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well. It's apparently not unusual to find some arsenic in well water. They weren't sure. They were going to run some more tests. I found the coolest old newspaper. It's from 1927, and on the front page is an article about Mickey Malone and a man named William Akers. You know how I always seem to wind up in houses with secret passageways? That's something else that's pretty cool. Hey, newsflash. I think I know why somebody wants to scare Sally off her property, and it has nothing to do with birds, parks, or artifacts. Have you ever heard of the hole-in-the-floor gold heist? In the journal, I found a map with the inscription, "The dogs will lead the way." I found Red Knot's observation platform, but I didn't see any sign of him. Malone's girlfriend, Vivian, said that Malone hired an artist to do paintings of his dogs right around the time he was bragging about creating a map that would lead to his gold. I could sure use a nice big hint right about now. Bye, you guys. Want to try? Pick up the key. My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally Macdonald bought? I'm Nancy Drew. Sally Macdonald said you might be able to help me. I need to find somebody with a chainsaw, and Sally Macdonald suggested I talk to you. Not yet. Got 'em right here. 12 big, fat, juicy ones, just like you wanted. I thought I'd work on them later. You bet. They look just like the picture you gave me, which you can have back. She's got a little problem she's hoping I can solve, but right now, I need a chainsaw. As it turns out, I'm there by myself. The dog scared her off. I'm in town visiting her, you know, out at the old Malone place. Well, Sally invited me to come out and stay with her for a while. But right now, I need a chainsaw. Yes, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm in town visiting her. I'm Nancy Drew. I drove in last night all the way from River Heights. A tree fell down in the driveway behind my car, and now I'm blocked in. What I really need is for someone to come out and remove the tree that fell in Sally's driveway. Have you ever seen the dogs? When was the last time they appeared? The ghost dog scared her off. She couldn't stand the thought of spending another night in that house. She thinks the Malone place is haunted, and after last night, I can see why. I got the bejeebies scared out of me twice last night. Just before I saw the dogs, I caught a man named Red Knot prowling around outside the house. I caught a strange man prowling around last night. He called himself Red Knot. What can you tell me about Red Knot? It seemed to me that he was more into watching birds than hugging trees. Has he been in the area long? Have you ever seen them? But isn't recovering objects from the lake bed illegal? So it's finders keepers, huh? Squeaky wheel acres? Are you saying you acquired this stuff illegally? Do I need some kind of permit? Hunting for critters isn't illegal, is it? Joe Akers is Jeff's father? Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you? Any word from Tucker what's-his-name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet. I need to get the water from Sally's well tested. How would I go about doing that? Do you know? Where's the ranger station? Why would there be a problem with the water? These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there? Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you? Where do you find your... Some of those old bottles are beautiful. Where'd you get them? You seem to be selling everything under the sun in here. Sounds like you aren't real fond of Ranger Acres. Why would he want that? Sounded to me like he just wants to preserve the area's history. I need to buy something? That's just it. I'm running kind of low on cash. Would it be possible to start a line of credit? Right now, cash is kind of a problem for me. Do you think we could do some kind of trade-out? To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear. A dozen little critters? You got a deal. So, what kind of bait do you need? I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him? How do I get to the museum? I found this picture in Sally's house. Do you recognize anybody? Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property? Do you sell sandpaper by any chance? Think I could get some from him? I've disturbed him enough already. Would anyone else around here have some? I need flashlight batteries. Do you carry them? In other words, you'd like me to give it a shot. I could probably do that. Achoo! There's a large tree blocking Sally's driveway. Do you know of anyone who can come out and clear it away? Guess I'll see you later. The gold's all yours, Em. Enjoy it while you can. The gold's all yours, Em. Enjoy it while you can. I don't know, but it had to be someone who had access to Malone's house and property after he died. Hi, Joe. It's Nancy. What are you eating? If nothing else, those ghost dogs are very well trained. I'm watching to see who owns and or trains dogs around here. I'm convinced that someone is using those ghost dogs to scare Sally into abandoning Malone's house. If I can just figure out why, I might be able to figure out who. Emily Griffin doesn't seem to have any dogs. That birdwatcher doesn't have a dog. And when I met him for the first time, he seemed awfully eager to make sure I knew the story about Malone and his dogs. Ranger Acres has a motive and a dog. And a uniform, which is why Bess assumes he's good-looking. Park Ranger Jeff Akers. What do you think? Does a uniform make a person more suspicious or less suspicious? Malone and his 4 dogs are supposedly buried in a little cemetery near the house. They've all got headstones inscribed with when they were born and when they died. That's exactly what I was wondering. I managed to get in touch with someone who used to be Malone's girlfriend. She says there's a speakeasy beneath Sally's house. Emily Griffin would no doubt be thrilled at the chance to collect artifacts on dry land for once. More tourists would start coming to Moon Lake, which means Jeff Akers would have more people to boss around. So he'd be happy. If the place became a tourist attraction, there'd be more people and fewer birds. Red Knot would not like it one bit. According to his journal, William Akers spent months following each dog around, hoping one of them would lead him to the gold. None ever did. He made one mark on the map I found, a capital I on the porch of the house. I'm beginning to see why he was superstitious. When it came to luck, he didn't seem to have much. Of the good kind, at least. He was pretty much a hard luck kind of guy. I'm pretty sure I know why somebody wants Sally out of the Malone house. So if you guys were 600 pounds of gold bullion, where would you be? I doubt it. William Akers had 9 years to turn this house and the speakeasy inside out and never found a thing. Maybe. The longer I stay in this house, the more it seems like nothing's impossible. I finally got into the speakeasy. Care to guess what I found there? Not really. The picture of Iggy shows him just lying there sleeping. Vitus is barking at birds, Lucy seems to be lying on top of an overturned boat, and I couldn't tell what Xander is doing because his painting is damaged. Each painting features one of the dogs. They're all wearing different colored collars and doing different things. As far as I can tell, they were painted by the same person. I seem to be getting nowhere fast. Anybody have any suggestions? Later, guys. Dear Ned, remember Sally Macdonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 1920s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Dear Ned, remember Sally Macdonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 1920s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Don't be afraid, little birdies. It's too dark. I need a flashlight. I'd better wait until daylight. It's silly to try to explore this in the dark. It's too dark. I'll look at this more closely tomorrow. It's not safe to take the boat out at night. I'll have to wait until tomorrow. It could be mice making that sound. I'd better wear protective gear. It could be mice making that sound. I'd better use gloves. I need a mask. These dogs seem really friendly. I'm safe for now. But this fire might spread to the woods. This fire might spread to the woods. Too much smoke. Huh? Oh, what happened? It smells like gasoline. Oh no! Fire! Ah! 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 Whoa! Ah! Oh! The dogs will lead the way. 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 If Malone said the dogs will lead the way, maybe I should keep track of where the dogs liked to hang out. The dogs will lead the way. The dogs will lead the way. I'll need more water than that to put out that fire. I need more. It's not full. That's enough. It's full. The spark plug's gone. Red! Ugh, not again. I'll finish sorting these before I read them. Looks like I'm going to have to bail out that water. I need a bucket. Got it. 3 down, 3 to go. Gotcha. 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 Got that one. Missed it. Darn, it flew away. Come back. I must have scared it. Nope. Don't fly away. I better not go out on the lake at night without any running lights. The boat doesn't have any running lights. I need to get away from Emily. I need to get out of here. There it is. I better get a picture before it takes off. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Hello? I can't go out on the lake without running lights. It's too dark on the lake, and the boat doesn't have any lights. Oh, the key broke off. There's got to be another way to get this open. I'd better put the pail down. Oh, the batteries are going dead. The wheel is spinning, but nothing's happening. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means. I bet the paintings have something to do with the map. If I can associate the pictures of the dogs with the map, That just might lead the way. So Lucy would swim out to the shipwreck, which is about here. If map is correct, the tree where Vitus would bark at the hawks used to be right about here. Xander played by the pump, which is right here. I think I need some more boards. It looks like I need to find more boards. I need some more. I'd better make sure this door is closed all the way before I fool around with anything else. I probably shouldn't mess around with this without Ranger Acres' permission. I better get out of here. I better get out of here. Oh, I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. At least I can kick. At least I can kick. I can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out. Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box. After all that work, I don't want the bait to go bad. It's blocked. It's blocked. Oh, it's blocked. It's held on by the screwdriver. It's blocked by the screwdriver. I need a bucket. Something must be very wrong with this engine. I gotta have some torque. I'm not thirsty. Where are all the birds? No birds here. Here, birdie, birdie, birdie. Tweet, tweet. That looks nice and stable. Now I just need to secure them. They need to be fastened to the floor. It's way too dark down there. I don't think that's safe. Unbelievable. He took it again. Red! No hawks. Maybe I should come back during the day. Nope, no hawks. Sounds like I've got company. I've already taken a photo of that one. I've got that one. I already have it. Aren't you smart? Calling phone numbers before I even know they exist. Well, to reward your cleverness, here's a prize. These could come in handy. These could come in handy. This might be useful. This might be useful. Something's out there. What is that? I better go check that out. I'll check this out in the daytime. Joe Acres? Emily said Jeff Acres' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Acres after all. William Acres? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Acres. Maybe I should close this all the way. I'd better lock this. I'd better secure this hatch. I need a camera. I need a camera. I don't think so. Oops. Can't take a picture without a camera. Where is my magnifying glass? The batteries are dead. Those floorboards need to be replaced. I need to fix this. This doesn't look very safe. I better be careful. It's still not fixed. It's some kind of lock. It looks like some kind of keyhole. Better safe than sorry. Fire! Fire! The boat's full of water. I should put down the photo. I need to test the water. I should give him the water sample. It's stuck. The spark plug is missing. There's no tape. The wheel is gone. It looks like a tiny hole. It's locked. What should I send? Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. I don't see any hawks. That sounded like a hawk. That sounded like a hawk. Oh, that looks like a speaker. Whoa, that looks like a speaker. Ta-da! One smiling goldfish. It's obviously never tried combo cola. The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight. I don't think I have all the pieces to solve this puzzle. I don't think this is the tree Red was talking about. I can't get this out. I can't get this out. Looks like Tucker hasn't moved that tree yet. It's probably not safe to go in there. Legend has it that for years, a local dog would swim out to the wreck every day and lie on it, barking at everyone who came near. The boat gradually disintegrated until now no trace of it remains. Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading. Safety first. Ew! 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 I bet those were deer mice. I don't know the combination yet. What's the combination? I'd better figure out the combination first. Don't be afraid, little birdies. I'm not that scary looking. Ah, he's so cute. A face only a gnome could love. Hi, guys. Just a couple more and I'll be through. And how are my favorite critters doing? I better adjust the engine again. It's too large. Looks like paw prints. Dear Ned, as soon as I got out of the tunnels, Emily had left a door open. I called the sheriff. But when I led him back down the well to the room where I'd left Emily, she refused to leave. He and his deputies finally got her out, but one of them said afterward that if he had to choose between getting a bear away from her cub and getting Emily away from that gold, he'd pick the bear. What's worse, by the time they took Emily away, the place was swarming with reporters from all over the country. The commotion has scared away every bird for miles. I'm pretty sure Red Knot would like to strangle me. On the other hand, when Ranger Akers found out that 7 cars and 2 helicopters were illegally parked on park property and that he was going to get to ticket them, he was ecstatic. Tucker Davis finally cleared away that dead tree, which means I'm free to drive home. Moon Lake is beautiful, but I've had enough wildlife for now. Which reminds me, did I mention that those 4 ghost dogs are actually very sweet? They're so sweet, in fact, that Sally is seriously thinking about adopting them. How's that for irony? Ever yours, Nancy. Something's missing. Something goes here. I need something to make this work. Those look too rotten. I don't need water right now. Now you tell me. There go the batteries. These look like dog tracks. More dog tracks. I need to bail out the boat. Better put my life jacket on. That doesn't sound good. I think I got them all adjusted. These dogs have been trained to act vicious on command. This must be sending a signal to the dogs. It must be some kind of high-tech dog whistle. That's the speaker I saw in the house. That should do it. Leaves that appear on a fresh spring tree make my birth different from the other 3. When swans drift by on shimmering blue, I'm the one who plays in the summer dew. When autumn's call brings out the deer, it is I who howls on mornings clear. And when winter comes and birds take flight, look to me to sleep through the long gray night. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the tape around my wrists and free my hands. So this is the speakeasy. Wow. Whoa. So this is the speakeasy. Wow. Those must be the spigots William Akers mentioned in his journal. The spigot won't move. There must be a way to unlock these spigots. According to Akers' journal, these spigots have something to do with a passcode. You can press these tiles in like buttons. What in the world was Malone up to? I bet the dogs attacked Sally's house because some kind of high-frequency signal was transmitted to them through the speaker I saw on the roof. I bet the dogs attacked Sally's house because high-frequency signal was transmitted to them through the speaker I saw on the roof. Ah, something no dog lover should be without. These colors look very familiar. Come on, Nancy, think! Each color could match up with one of Malone's dogs, but what about those numbers? What do those numbers have to do with Malone's dogs? Maybe the numbers have something to do with the dogs' names. Vitus starts with a V, which is a Roman numeral. I'm tired. I should go upstairs and get some sleep. Yes! 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 It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. There go the batteries. I can't see a thing. I'd better go back. Oh. My flashlight's dead. I'd better make sure this cassette player works. Maybe I should take another look at William Akers' map. It might help if I checked my PDA. I could check my PDA. I forget what this thing's supposed to look like. I should take another look at the picture I got from Emily. I guess I could check my PDA. It might help if I took another look at that picture Emily gave me. Maybe I should use my bait box for this. Maybe Malone made it possible to drain the well because he hid something down there. I'm this close to finding the gold. I just know it. Maybe I should give Bess and George a call and hear what they have to say about all this. I could always call Frank and Joe Hardy. The boat's full of water. So you're the ghost dogs. You look pretty real to me. Look how sweet you all are. What could possibly make you act so mean, huh? You've been trained to respond to a silent signal from this thing, haven't you? Who's a good boy? Who's a good puppy, puppy, puppy? Hey, boy, who's got you playing ghost, huh? Hey, girl, you're not vicious, are you? No, you're a nice doggy. That lantern belongs to Red. I'd better not take it. I could sure use that lantern, but it's Red's, so I'd better leave it here. He's grumpy enough already. Well, guess I'll just have to read that later. Looks like somebody's not a poetry fan. One of the people who owned the house before Sally must have left this here. I'm too busy right now. I'm busy with something else right now. I can't use that right now. I'll look at that when I'm done here. I sure don't need that right now. Oops, this is definitely not the time for that. I'll take a look at that later. No time for that right now. I've got to get out of here. I can't let Emily catch me. I've got to keep moving. If I don't keep moving, Emily will catch me. There aren't any locks on the doors and windows. What are you so afraid of? I wonder whose this is. This must be Red's observation platform. Rotten floorboards, watch your... Ah! Rotten floorboards, watch your... Bet you think you're pretty smart, huh? Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Okay. As always, your mission is to solve the mystery. You're going to step into my shoes and be my eyes and ears. It will be up to you to decide my every move. When you're in the center of a room, you can turn around in a circle to see the whole room. Move your cursor to the left or right edge of the screen, and you'll automatically move in that direction. You can turn off this auto move feature in the Game Setup menu. A forward arrow allows you to advance in the direction you want to go. Likewise, a back arrow allows you to take a step back. Sometimes up and down arrows will be available too. Give it a try. Find the forward arrow and take a step over to that round table to see what's there. I always carry my magnifying glass with me to scan for clues. When it turns red, I know I'm onto something. Move your mouse until the magnifying glass turns red, and then click to zoom in. The magnifying glass comes in very handy. When it turns red, you can use it to open and close things, pick up objects, and move things around. When you want to go back to where you came from or turn around, take a few steps over to the desk and look for my room card key. All right. When you find something useful in the game, you can pick it up and carry it around with you, like that key. Go ahead and pick it up. Good work. You're a natural. To use one of these objects, just move your mouse over it in the toolbox on the right and click on it. See how your cursor turns into that item? Now, if you click on the screen, you'll be using that object. Is that everything? Oh, I almost forgot one of the most important detective skills. You know, questioning suspects. In the game, you can talk to the people you meet. The conversation will appear in the text box next to the toolbox. The words of the person you're talking to will be in blue, and my replies will be in white. Select a question or a reply by clicking on it, and listen to what your suspect says next. Give it a try.
Excuse me, miss, but I couldn't help but notice that you're doing an awful lot of snooping around.
Excuse me, sir, but I don't snoop. I sleuth. Who, me? Oh, no, I wasn't snooping. I was just looking for a dictionary. I keep forgetting how to spell perpetrator. And I couldn't help but notice that you're dressed like a chicken. What's up with that? If there are a lot of words in the text box, you know how some people can talk. Those bars to the right move up and down so that you can read along. Hang in there. We're almost done. If you make a major mistake, say you fall off a roof or blow something up, you can select Second Chance from the main menu to get back to where you were before you goofed. And if you get stuck or feel like talking to someone you know you can trust, you can always call Bess and George. Sometimes you can call Frank and Joe Hardy, a.k.a. the Hardy Boys, too. So that's it. You're ready to tackle the case. I'll return you to the player challenge screen where you can start the game. Junior Detective is not quite as tough as the senior level, so you might want to start there. You never know what you'll turn up in the game, so be sure to explore. Don't forget to trust your instincts and have fun. Good luck. Oh, one more thing. You know how in real life you sometimes wish you could make time speed up? Well, in this game, you can. Just head up the stairs in Sally's house and a dialog box will appear. If you indicate that you'd like to wake up at night, p.m., the next thing you know, it's night. If you click on morning, a.m., ta-da! It's a brand new day. Some items that wind up in your toolbox will have a tiny eye beside them. When you click on one of these items, you can see it close up. Like my PDA, otherwise known as my personal digital assistant. It's the little gray thing in the toolbox that looks like a handheld computer. Move your cursor over it, click on it, and watch what happens. There, see? You get a nice big close-up of it. By the way, the PDA helps you keep track of what you learn in the course of your detective work. Just click on its scroll buttons to read what's there. When you're done, move your cursor down until it becomes the back arrow, click, and the PDA will return to the toolbox.
It's locked. Something's missing here.
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally Macdonald. Are you the park ranger? I'm Nancy Drew. I'm visiting the woman who bought the old Malone place, Sally Macdonald. Do you know her? Are you Jeff Akers? Thank you so much. Is she still alive? You are incredible, Ranger Akers. What did you find out? That's right. Only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her. That's her. Unfortunately, she seems to have developed a problem of the canine kind. What do you mean, write her up? You find her for something? Yes, I am. My name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally Macdonald. I'm Nancy Drew. Sally Macdonald is a friend of mine. I'm staying at her house. Sounds like you take your job very seriously. I'll be sure to remember that. Does that mean you don't? I saw them myself. So you know the legend? Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house? Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow? Have you ever investigated the ghost dogs yourself? Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house? As a park ranger, don't you want to know for sure what's behind these dog attacks? As a matter of fact, I do. Sorry, it's my nature. But would it be okay if I asked a few more? Great! Vivian sent me the key! Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet? Oh my gosh! Not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately. I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me? How much would it cost to send this photo to Vivian Burnett? According to Emily Griffin, Deputy Joe Akers was your father. And according to the journal I found, William Akers' son was named Joe. Another coincidence? Are you sure you're not related to William Akers? Why didn't you tell me that before? And you don't want anyone to know that. What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested? Did William Akers ever say anything about the cemetery behind Malone's house? As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property? Do you think it would be best if Malone's house was just torn down and forgotten? Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally? Then maybe these ghost dogs are a blessing in disguise. Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price and you'll have your land. I'm sorry, I really am. It's just that Sally's my friend and I'd really like to find out why someone's doing this to her. I didn't mean to insult you. In fact, is there anything I can do to help you out? Okay if I read what's in the envelopes? I hope I don't get distracted. Apple crisp sounds good right now. What's your take on all this ghost dog stuff? What do you know about the pack of dogs that's been terrorizing Sally? They've scared her so bad that she's gone to her aunt's in Philadelphia. Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's? Does everyone out here have a well? Do wells go bad very often? This place isn't exactly your ordinary ranger station, is it? Which is apparently rather colorful. So you know all about Mickey Malone? So you'd probably like to see the old Malone place torn down and forgotten. As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property? I noticed you have a dog. I couldn't help but notice that he's about the same size as those ghost dogs were. Do you have any other dogs? He seems very well trained. Where's Yogi? Where's your dog? What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house? Is Malone buried there? Are Malone's dogs buried there? The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells? Would it be okay if I looked around? I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him? I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone? The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours? What do you know about a man named William Akers? When and why was Malone arrested? What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison? I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are? She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive? What would be the best way for me to find out who was living in Moon Lake in 1928 and where they ended up? Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you? Sounds like Moon Lake could use 2 rangers. How long have you been the lone ranger here, as it were? What do you know about a man named Joe Akers? I understand he used to be the deputy here. I recently found out that William Akers had a son. What can you tell me about the speakeasy in the basement of Malone's house? What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property? Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property? I have that water sample. What do I do with it? Have you found anything about that photograph I showed you? I finished putting all those envelopes in order. Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Akers. I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. ever met him? Why? Is something wrong with him? He seems pretty harmless to me. Chances are it isn't a paycheck. It doesn't involve Roman numerals, does it? Would you mind mailing this letter for me? Thanks for all your help. Thanks for the tip, Ranger Akers. Please, just call me Nancy. Does that mean you'd like me to call you Mr. Red Knot? Really? Are they rare? Did you say last night that you have an outboard motorboat? Do you know much about outboard motors? Are you out here all by yourself? Why don't you like tourists? You're not exactly a people person, are you? There's no place nearby that sells boat parts? Sally's outboard is missing a spark plug. You don't happen to have any spare spark plugs lying around, do you? You mean you have a spark plug I could buy? But I don't want to leave you unprepared. Enough to know that the engine on Sally's boat is missing one, and that I'm going to be stuck here unless and until I replace it. I'm a very curious person, Mr. Knott. I like to know things. Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of? My friend Bess just got one for her birthday. I helped her figure out how to use it. I know I can. Sounds good. Cigarettes? No. Only when I'm on fire. Do many people around here own dogs? Was she the only dog you ever had? The water in Sally's well needs to be tested. How do I do that? I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong? I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some. Mickey Malone supposedly buried a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that? So you don't know anything about it? Ever hear of a man named William Akers? I just can't seem to find a red-tailed hawk. Any suggestions? No, Red, I haven't. Where am I most likely to see one? I never noticed those gas cans before. My motor is missing a spark plug. You wouldn't happen to have an extra one, would you? I'll find those birds, I promise. But may I have that spark plug, please? Was Ruth your wife? I'm sorry, but finding those birds is harder than I thought it would be. Can you give me any tips? Somebody clobbers me over the head and then tries to barbecue me, and all you're worried about is your camera? You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds. Where did those gas cans come from? See you in a while. I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire. Who are you? A Strix what? I'm sorry, but you startled me. What are you doing out here? I'm Nancy Drew. What were all those noises out here just now? Just what is it you're afraid I'll scare away? I'm sorry, I didn't mean any harm. My name's Nancy Drew. Have you been out here long? I'm Nancy Drew. I'm staying in this house, and I heard a lot of weird noises, so I came out here to investigate. My name's Nancy Drew. Didn't you hear all those strange noises? What do you know about the woman living here? You've met Sally? I'm staying here in the old Malone place. I drove in today from River Heights to visit my friend Sally Macdonald. I'm not going anywhere until I know what's been making those weird noises. Didn't you hear all that screeching? Did she ever call the police? Did she say what was wrong? What do you think was scaring her? The dogs would attack her house? Did they ever attack Sally? Why haven't the police investigated? Do you live close by? Are you a native of Moon Lake? Are those the ghost dogs? Are you saying Sally's house is haunted by ghost dogs? What do the dogs do? One more thing. The water in Sally's well needs to be tested. How do I do that? Well, good night. Hello, Manon, and congratulations for being one of the first to solve the Scarlet Hand mystery in the final scene. Howdy, Solver. Hope you're having fun. I just want to congratulate you for being one of the first people to figure out that Scarlet Hand was my next mystery adventure. For meritorious service and keen sleuthing skills in a Nancy Drew mystery, I hereby award you with this super duper deluxe Easter egg finder. Wave it around in good health. Howdy, Solver. Hope you're having... Hey, wait a minute. You've already heard this before. Hello, Manon, and... Oh, I see. Trying to be sneaky and get more than one super duper deluxe Easter egg finder. Well, I don't think so. When you want to go back to where you came from or turn around, find where your cursor turns into an arrow at the bottom of the screen and click. Uh-oh, this is not good. Speakeasy. What's to be scared of? It's so peaceful and quiet here. You make it sound like the house is haunted or something. No way. You've got me so curious I wouldn't leave even if I could. One of your trees seems to have other plans for me. Let me put it this way. Unless someone who just happens to have a chainsaw just happens to come by, my car's not going anywhere. A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in. It's late. Won't the store be closed? Don't worry about it. I'm not in any hurry to leave. I can't just take off in your boat. It's pitch black outside. Why? What on earth do you think is going to happen? Your boat's missing a spark plug, Sally. It's not going anywhere. Lock them. Why? Sally, just tell me why you're so upset. Did he tell you that if the Parks Department had bought the Malone property instead of you, he would have gotten an assistant like he's always wanted? Do you have any idea why Ranger Acres gives you a hard time? Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property. It could be, yes. But even if it is a rumor, it seems kind of odd that no one around here ever mentioned it to you. I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs. When was the first time you saw the dogs? When they appeared, did they always do the same thing? Did they always come around the same time, or did it vary? Who are the 3 people you've met so far at Moon Lake? Which 3 people? What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights? Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place? Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance? I could really use some sandpaper. Do you have any stashed away somewhere? I noticed. She's quite a character, isn't she? How well do you know Emily? How well do you know the owner? Who did you say I should call about getting rid of that tree? How well do you know her? That Emily Griffin is quite a character. How well do you know her? How do I go about getting your water tested? Tell me about the run-ins you've had with Jeff Akers. You know, the park ranger. Any idea why not? I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic. Maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well? The health department can't say for sure yet. But if that is the case, do you have any idea who would do a thing like that? It looks like there's a secret door in one of the walls of the living room. Do you have any idea where it goes? Squeaking sounds. Have you been in the cellar? Did the house come with blueprints by any chance? Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found? Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that? It's probably just a rumor, but on the off chance that it isn't, do you have any idea where he could have hidden it? I'm curious. Why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck? I could really use a flashlight. Is there one around here someplace? I got a spark plug from that birdwatcher, Red Knot, but he keeps sneaking it back out of the boat. I promised to take some pictures of birds for him. I guess this is his way of making sure I follow through. I have the feeling it's mostly because he's ornery. What was he like when you talked to him? Is there a trick to getting your pump to work? When I pump the handle to get a water sample, nothing comes out. Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from? The wall hanging in the living room with a poem on it, and those dog carvings in that cabinet above the sofa. What can you tell me about them? Has the clock ever worked? Does anything happen when you turn those dog carvings? What would you say if I told you there's a speakeasy under your house? Nope. To get into it, I had to go down some stairs that were hidden in the cemetery. It's got everything from spigots for pouring drinks to paintings of Malone's 4 dogs. In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore? A close friend of Mickey Malone's, or so it would seem. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery? So you didn't go out there much? Do you know if Malone is really buried there? Talk to you later. It was of you and Mickey Malone. Do you remember him? That's right. I found it in the cellar of Mickey Malone's old house on Moon Lake. He had a speakeasy? Where? Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake? Tell me about the speakeasy. That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy. Did this speakeasy have a secret entrance? Did all Malone's employees have their own safes? I don't suppose you happen to know the combination. Willie, as in William Akers. What can you tell me about him? The cemetery? Who's Willie? Unlucky number. Like what? Was the name on the tombstone Matthias by any chance? The dogs will lead the way? They had something to do with the map? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Did you spend much time at his place on Moon Lake? I found a safe in the cellar there. Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it? Did he ever say anything to you about a map? Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings? William Akers had some kind of map in the back of his journal. Do you think that's the treasure map Malone mentioned? The key to the tombstone? You still have it? How will I know which tombstone to use it in? I found a safe in the cellar of Malone's house. I'd love to see what's in it, but unfortunately it's locked. What can you tell me about Malone's speakeasy? Did you say people would normally enter the speakeasy through the cemetery? Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house? William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that? So it's true? He did bury gold on his property? That was the name Akers used, too. What else can you tell me? Did Malone say what he was going to do with those paintings of his dogs? Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold? I got the key you sent me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's just one thing. It doesn't seem to work. Are there any other tricks to getting into the speakeasy that I should know about? Tunnels? You mean there's more than one way to get to the speakeasy from the cemetery? There are doors down there? Where do they go? What can you tell me about William Akers? I can't tell you how grateful I am for all your help. Do you have any idea why the painting Malone had done of his dog, Lucy, shows her on top of an overturned boat? Where exactly were these rocks? How did the boat get there? Do you know why Malone would have had the dog he called Vitus painted standing next to a tree? Where was he when he barked at the birds? Did he hang out by one particular tree, or did he move around? What else can you remember about him? Do you know anything about the dog Malone called Xander? Do you have any idea what Xander was barking at? Was there any particular place where Xander liked to hang out? It's been fun talking to you.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew. You find all the birds? How's the bird watching coming along? Hello there. Howdy. I will if you keep your voice down. All right then. Hello, Nancy. Now put a muffler on it, would ya? I just heard a cerulean warbler. Something tells me they're gonna be with you around. You didn't come up here to chit-chat, did you? Something tells me they're gonna be with you around. You didn't come up here to chit-chat, did you? Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away. I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles. I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared. What's a pretty young lady like you know about spark plugs? Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera? Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're going to have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that? One more thing. You smoke? These woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do, 'cause if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore, I'll be looking for you. Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears'd perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could. Not really. Most people don't bother. Yep. Wouldn't be worth the hassle anymore. Especially now that I'm retired and spend so much time at Moon Lake. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. Well, according to my bird map, they like to nest in the big tree that's just to the southwest of the Malone house. I suggest you park yourself nearby and wait. Bound to spot one sooner or later. Nope. I know an extremely annoying park ranger named Jeff Acres, but I've never heard of any William Acres. Shh. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? Oh, you're a spunky one, aren't you? Well, you're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries. Here, take it and scram. Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting. Well, there's gotta be lots around here. You haven't been going around wearing sunglasses and earmuffs, have you? I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Look here, it's a very expensive camera. I sure do. In fact, I got the one I lent you. Just wanted to make sure you didn't forget about the bird photos. I know a gal like you has got other things to do, but quid pro quo, what else can I do for you? Just don't forget, Nancy, I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay? You gotta look for 'em. This isn't gonna be any Sunday picnic, you know? And try early in the morning. That's when most of them are singing. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here? It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it? Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation. Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester. Yeah. Shh. Down a notch. Remember, just remember. Eyes open, mouth shut. No hurry. Watch yourself out there. My name's Red Knot. And if you've got a volume knob, I'd appreciate your taking it down a notch before you scare away everything from here to Lancaster. Strix varia. A barred owl. Real hard to spot. And it doesn't help that you're out here making more noise than a jumbo jet. Birds. I'm trying to look for birds. What are you doing out here? Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone 2. That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway? A couple hours. Name's Red Knot, by the way. And now that we've exchanged pleasantries, why don't you just skedaddle on out of here and leave me to my birds? It's like they don't want anybody but Malone living there. I guess they don't know he's dead. And so are they, the dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, his 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. I talked to her a couple of times, but you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared. Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear 'em howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger, and all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park. She never gave them the chance. After the first attack, she stopped going out at night. Just locked the doors when it got dark and sat tight until morning. I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kind of my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it. Yes, ma'am. Which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house. Get a sampling kit from Jeff Akers. Ranger station's on the east side of the lake. People would just hear 'em howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone both. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew. Now look what you've done. Sounds like a Western. American robin, blue jay, Western tanager, red-tailed hawk, American goldfinch, northern cardinal. Here's everything you'll need. So is the big blackberry patch, and so is the old dock that used to be right where all those rocks are now. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite, American robin.
Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
Sally Macdonald.
Is currently unavailable. At the sound of the beep, please leave a message.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi, how's it going? I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared. Just wait until it gets dark. Then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room. Not the house. The woods. What do you mean? Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call. If she decides to answer her phone. Where's my brain? Okay, look. You will be. Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house. Then listen to me. Go around the house and lock all the doors and windows. Do that right now. The dogs. Dogs. Out of nowhere. They're outside, howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello?
The dogs! Malone's dogs! They come out of nowhere. Suddenly they're just there, outside the house, howling and snarling. All eyes and teeth and claws. It's horrible. All I know is whenever he sees me, he always finds a reason to give me a hard time. No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you. I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck. No, the only reason I think there is a cellar is because of the cellar doors on the outside of the house. I was going to get someone to force them open with a crowbar or something so I could see what's down there, but I never got around to it. Story of my life. The house barely came with electricity. I'm assuming the place has a cellar because of the cellar doors on the side of the house. But I haven't been able to open them, so who knows? No. Could it be true? How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never. Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up. They're black, and they have yellow glowing eyes, and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night, howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night. Let's see, the park ranger, I forget his name, kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin, she's the one who owns that store I told you about, and I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him, too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake. You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't. Yes, come to think of it, they always came running up to the house, barking and snarling. They'd lunge at the windows, they'd jump up on the door, they'd run around and bark some more, then they'd run off. Actually, they always came around the same time. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day. That's interesting. A bigger park means a bigger paycheck, too, I'll bet. No wonder the guy resents me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming super ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the parks department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice. He came to the door one day, just after I moved in, and asked me if he could keep using his observation platform since he built it before I bought the house. And I said sure. But I got the definite feeling that as far as he was concerned, I was trespassing on his property instead of the other way around. The man is downright strange. I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I'm assuming it's mice, one of the many things on my to-do list that I've been putting off. Not for me. Oh, but get this. Not that I know of. But that clock? One day, I was messing with the hands, trying to get them to work, and all of a sudden, one of the 4 little doors flew open, and instead of a cuckoo, this dog popped out and barked 3 times. It's a doggy clock. That Malone, bad as he was, he sure loved those dogs. Cemetery? Good grief. Sometimes I wonder whether I bought a house or an amusement park. Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed, I know that. No. The realtor said the cemetery was just a sham, that there's nothing under those tombstones but dirt. But he may have just been saying that so I'd buy the place. The only way to know for sure whether or not Malone is there is to start digging, and I'm certainly not going to do that. Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better. Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Sure don't. Try M's Emporium. She carries a little bit of everything. Sure don't. Try M's Emporium. That's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself if you haven't been there yet. The place is something else. Emily Griffin. She doesn't bother answering her phone sometimes, so don't call her. Go see her. Her store's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself. M's Emporium is something else. Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there. I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well? No. A secret door? Wow, I never noticed. Being an outdoor photographer, I guess I don't pay much attention to indoor stuff. Maybe it goes to the cellar. Maybe that's where those squeaking sounds have been coming from. Is this a joke? You bet. Look in the kitchen. The batteries might be a little iffy, though. But there's always M's Emporium. Why? It needs to be primed. Take some good water, like from the jug in the kitchen. Pour it into the top of the pump, then start pumping. That wets the seals so they expand and make a vacuum or something. You have to do it every so often whenever the seals dry out. It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for. Aren't they cool? They came with the place. Sold the clock. Apparently, Malone had them custom made when he built the house. In fact, they're all built into the house. They're still there because you can't move them. Are you kidding me? No, I sure don't. Who's she? Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were. Keep me posted. Thanks again, Nancy. Stay in touch. Bye.
I need some sandpaper.
Here's everything you'll need. Western Tanager.
Bess, hi, it's Nancy. I'm at this little amusement park on the coast. I wish I could say I was having a wonderful time, but the fact is, some pretty spooky things have been happening here. There have been some strange accidents, and the carousel, it starts up in the dead of night all by itself like it's haunted or something. You know me, I don't get scared very easily, but I saw it myself, and I'll call you later. I've got to go right now.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Hello?
Is this Vivian?
No, this is your station drop-off. Vivian's fixing snacks in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, Eustacia and Drop-Off? Harry Houdini's cousin?
Use the air horn like I showed you.
No, Eustacia, wait. It's Nancy Drew. I talked to you on the phone a couple of months ago, just after a friend of mine was kidnapped in St. Louis. I asked you questions about the theater where the kidnapping took place, the Royal Palladium, remember?
I'm either not here or I don't feel like answering, and I don't do messages. So if you're a friend, call back. If you're a salesperson, hello?
Hi, Vivian. It's Nancy Drew.
More questions?
I'm afraid so.
It's Nancy! Eustacia says hi. Go on, dear. Hello?
Hi, Vivian. It's Nancy again.
Go on. Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
Nancy Drew, the Snoopy one. You're not dead yet?
No.
Most people, I talk to them one day, next day they're dead. It is an old age thing.
Oh, stop being so morbid here. Have some clam dip. Hello? Nancy? So you know Eustacia, huh? Small world. Well, what's up? Of course I remember him. I remember everything about that time of my life. It was the roaring 20s, for crying out loud. One of the most exciting decades in American history. Mickey and I dated for 5 years. Oh, I knew what he was, and I didn't approve, believe you me. But I was young, and we got along so well, and he was so considerate. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me. Moon Lake. Talk about your fond memories. I had a lot of fun there. Although I wasn't anywhere near as wild as most young people were back then. It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's. You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. He was a guy who worked for Mickey. Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery. There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy. Not hardly. Mickey treated most of his employees like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, trusted him. And when Willie decided he wanted his own safe, Mickey said, "What the hey?" No one knew the combination, not even Mickey. Mostly because Willie was constantly changing it. He was a little paranoid and superstitious. Well, as I recall, he'd picked the most unlucky number he could think of and used that for the combination. He called it a reverse jinx. Oh, like the date that something bad happened, like when the stock market crashed, or when somebody died, or the address of a house that caught fire, or the phone number of the police, that sort of thing. The guy who ran the speakeasy for Mickey. It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small, and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him, inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks. That was it! Bureau of Investigation Agent Waldo Matthias. I haven't thought about him for 70 years. He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly. Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. Afraid not. Mickey was so secretive that the men who completed his house at Moon Lake were not only forbidden to talk about the work they'd done, but they were ordered to leave the state for good, or else. But you know, I think he mentioned a map. Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his. He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think! He said he was making a treasure map and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did. It's possible, but knowing Mickey, he probably made the map so obscure that poor Willie couldn't make heads or tails of it. Mickey loved to tease people like that, made him feel smart. But feeling smart isn't the same as being smart. So, where were we? Oh yeah, the password. Let's see. It was the name of that federal agent, his first name.
Waldo?
No, not his real first name. What Mickey was always calling him. Mickey had his men dig a bunch of tunnels between the speakeasy and the cemetery with hidden doors that opened when other doors closed and lots of dead ends so that if the speakeasy was ever raided, his guests could hide from the police. I was always terrified of getting lost, but you're a plucky girl. I'm sure you'll be fine. Just because I've got a few years on most people doesn't mean my brain's turned to tapioca, sweet stuff. But I think Mickey kind of respected me for that. I was his gal for 5 years. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, Maybe there's something to the story after all. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have. He died in prison, you know. No family, no friends. That's about as stupid as you can get. Baldo! That was it, Baldo. I always thought it was mean to call him that, especially since Mickey was starting to get a little sparse on top himself.
So I just turn the letters until they spell Baldo?
Yes, dear, but like almost everything else in life, it's trickier than it sounds. But I'll tell you what. If you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key. Iggy! I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep. Very much. Me.
I'll take that as a compliment. Bye, Vivian.
Goodbye, Nancy. All I remember is he was always outside and he was always barking. Bark, bark, bark. I'd ask Mickey, what's his problem? And he'd say, birds. Drove me nuts. I can't remember. Those dogs are just one big noisy blur. About 50 feet off the east end of Mickey's dock. Mickey always warned people he invited to his place about them. Was kind of his way of keeping out party crashers. In fact, as I recall, the boat belonged to Flo Ziegfeld. He was famous, you know. Produced these huge musical extravaganzas on Broadway called the Ziegfeld Follies. Anyway, Mickey didn't like him. Thought his show stunk. But Ziegfeld kept begging for an invite to one of his parties. So Mickey finally said, okay. Said just be sure to approach the dock from the east. So he did. Ran right up on the rocks and capsized. Boat was a total loss. Ziegfeld was so mad he just left it there. Mickey laughed for weeks.
You're no spring chipmunk yourself.
Spring chicken, not chipmunk. Anyway, good luck, kiddo. You know, you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago.
Someone you liked, I hope.
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. I sure don't. That saloon was built using two main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. The hole in the floor gold heist, well, I'll be darned. I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Where is my brain? The key unlocks the letters of the inscription. Just dial in the password and you'll be set.
There's just one more thing.
You don't know the password. I'm sorry. Eustacia, I've been playing canasta all day, and I guess beating her all those times took more out of my brain than I thought.
Next game, I win. Next game, loser pays for pizza.
Well, get out your wallet, sister, because you're going down. I suppose it's only fair to warn you about the tunnels, and the doors, and the dead ends. You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey. Well, I just hope I've told you everything you need to know, because Eustacia and I are about to hop on a plane to San Diego and catch a cruise to Tahiti. Kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing, but then it doesn't pay to plan too far ahead when you're Eustacia's age. Lucy, yes. She was the one who would always swim out to the abandoned boat that was stuck on the rocks off Mickey's dock. She'd just lie on it all day, every day, like she owned it. Darndest thing I ever saw. Vitus. Let's see. Was he the one that barked at birds all day? Yes, I think he was. He barked. They all barked. Bark, 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 bark. All of them except Iggy. Anytime. 23 skidoo, kiddo. I know. Absolutely, positively. I'll be suing you.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. This is a recording.